Wow, remember when Canada's big banks were all about, banking? But today, Canada's big banks are becoming increasingly political. Case in point, we looked on in revulsion last February when some Canadians actually had their bank accounts frozen for the egregious crime of making monetary donations to the Freedom Convoy in Ottawa. And even before that took place, we experienced political interference here at Rebel News last December. That's when the Royal Bank of Canada declined to approve our mortgage application pertaining to a Calgary property. This had nothing to do with our financial wherewithal. Rather, the Royal Bank apparently doesn't like our editorial stance. What the hell? And as you just saw, along comes yet another example of a bank carrying out a jihad against a client for the egregious crime of wrongthink. Yes, apparently having a politically incorrect and non-woke mindset is sinful in the eyes of Scotiabank, which is why longtime Scotiabank client Gary Duke of Grand Prairie, Alberta, was essentially fired as a client by the bank, not for defaulting on a loan, mind you, but rather for asking an impolite question. Unbelievable. In any event, you had plenty to say regarding yet another bank getting political and, well, downright vindictive. Vanguard Trainer 924 writes, "The fact they can shut you out of your account just for not agreeing with their woke antics is terrifying. People need to start carrying cash on their person again." Yes, once again, we have a case of a bank getting weaponized for political reasons. And what do you want to bet that Scotiabank is probably sharing information regarding Gary Duke with the other banks? Kind of like how casinos in Las Vegas share information with one another regarding cheaters and card counters. Unbelievable. Concerned Citizen writes, "Sue the bank manager, and whoever wrote the email. Take them to a human rights tribunal as a discrimination case." Well, if that had happened to me and I had, Lotto Max FU money, I would indeed pursue litigation. But I'm thinking Scotiabank probably has some contractual weasel words that allows them to fire a customer for whatever reason. As for going the kangaroo court route, in other words, a human rights tribunal, I think that would be a no-hoper. The human rights shysters would undoubtedly be on the bank side when it comes to this particular issue. Smarty M writes, "I was thinking of applying for a job at Scotiabank this year and set up a job seeker account with them. Imagine my surprise when I saw one of the questions was my sexual orientation. There were several options to choose from. Since when can prospective employers ask about your sex life? Preferred pronouns was not as surprising, 9 options to choose from. These 2 questions were optional to answer, but the gender identity question required a response, 11 options. I just gave up." Wow, this is indeed shocking, Smart TM. Whatever happened to privacy? After all, when we reached out to Scotiabank Corporate to get their side of the story, this is what Katie Raskina, her, the manager of media relations and issues management, had to say, quote, "Scotiabank cannot comment on individual customer matters for privacy reasons. We are committed to building an inclusive environment and culture through active allyship and believe that all employees, customers, and the community should be treated with equal respect and consideration," end quote. Translation, Scotiabank believes in an inclusive environment. Unless you ask impolite questions, then it will exclude those customers from that environment. And privacy is apparently a fluid concept at the bank. Capiche? Bo Ottenbrett writes, "We are living in an extremely intolerant world thanks to a bunch of talking heads trying to push their version of tolerance and being entirely intolerant of everyone that disagrees with them. Well said, Bo. Indeed, when it comes to the LGBTQIPSAAIEU and sometimes Y community, it is no longer about tolerance and acceptance anymore. The radicals in this community demand affirmation, and they demand that they never be questioned or criticized. And how's this for perverse irony? While they demand tolerance, this group is comprised of the most intolerant people on the planet. And Eddie Willers writes, if Scotiabank operated in Muslim countries, I'll warrant there's no rainbows on the app used in those locales. Oh, Eddie, that is a very safe bet indeed. And it's not just speculation. In June, Fortune magazine reported that for Gay Pride Month, BMW updated its logo on its main Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn accounts, as well as regional Twitter profiles, including South Africa, the UK, India, and Mexico, to a colorful rainbow-clad palette. Every account was updated, except for one, and that country would be, drumroll please, Saudi Arabia. So thank you, BMW, for proving that when it comes to the human rights totem pole, radical Islam trumps the alphabet soup community. Hey folks, that was an excerpt from my show, Rebel Roundup. Now, to get the full meal deal, why not go to Rebel News Plus, sign up, and never miss a Rebel News Plus show in the future.